Yeah, Rap Sheet, there was something going on with DeAndre Hopkins over the last couple days, and before he was definitely getting traded. Then DeAndre Hopkins said, you know what, I never said I wanted to leave Arizona. And now, again, he's choosing, the top 5 quarterbacks that he'd like to play with. What's going on? Is he going to be in Arizona, and what's the deal here?
He was on I Am Athlete, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Full sit-down.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting.
It was a big interview.
It was an interesting angle. What's the angle? It was an interesting angle.
Remember, we all believed his Arizona thing.
He only said one quarterback, though.
He gave his top 5.
Yeah, but he gave teams. It didn't seem like he was going to be in Arizona. Is that what Arizona's think? Like, it felt like that was an interesting angle. How'd you feel?
I have been over it a bunch, and it's almost like if you stop the recording at a certain point, I would say one thing, but then he kept going, and I'm like, oh, wait, maybe he means this. So it's like, I want a quarterback who loves football and wants to win. I'm like, oh. Then he's like, and this is why I love Kyler Murray. Oh, wait. But then it's like, well, Kyler Murray's going to be injured, so Colt McCoy's going to be my quarterback. And I was like, oh. So it's kind of a winding road. I am not ready to make any definitive statements about DeAndre Hopkins. Like, do I think he'll be on Arizona? Like, that is kind of what I think. But I don't know what's going to happen as we get, through training camp. Like, maybe there's a playoff-ready team that loses a key receiver that says, you know what? We need to go get this guy, and maybe at this point Arizona says, all right, we're not as far along as we want to be. Maybe this will be a rebuilding season. Like, we're going to send the money and get a draft pick. Like, to me, I think he could be on the Cardinals, but it still seems open, and he seems open to kind of whatever outcome may end up happening. So there's going to be a couple different checkpoints right around the cut, start of training camp, and then right around cut down day, and then the trade deadline where we're all going to be talking about DeAndre Hopkins.
Situation's fluid. That's
right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fluid situation.
Ever changing.
Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, and he complimented Kyler Murray in there. Those are quarterbacks he'd love to play with via I Am Athlete podcast. The whole thing, though, about Kyler not playing next year is interesting. How long he won't play for and what that means for the Cardinals. They got no primetime games. As an owner of a football team, which this guy's dialed in with.
Yep.
This guy's dialed in with Cardinals ownership.
Yes.
Let's remember that. We've
always
seen that in a couple different situations in the past. Somebody in ownership team, if not direct owner, is with Cuz right here.
Yeah, very
Feed
tight.
and Rap.
You don't pay that guaranteed money to a quarterback and then expect to have the lowest over-under total in the NFL and no primetime games.
Yikes.
Injuries are a crazy thing, but that Cardinals team is interesting, Rap. It's an interesting situation on how the next few years kind of turn because I know they're looking for
Shots.
explosives and everything like that. But will they ever get a chance to do anything? Because it seems like one step forward, 2 steps. Things start going good, then everything kind of is a clusterfuck. Then you go forward, then it goes back. Then you pay a guy, and then he's out. And also, he's not getting along with the guy you also paid, the head coach and offense coordinator. It's like, why is it like that over there? Why? And does that change, you think? Does that change?
So let's look at what happened during the draft.
Worst facilities in football, too. I didn't
By
even think about that. They got worst grade in football, didn't they? It was
Paying for off-season meals, they're the worst.
I mean, just like complete. Why is it like that? You think? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just want to add that in there.
No.
Vaughn, last time we talked to you, it was right after D-Hop basically said, like, hey, I'd love to go play in Buffalo. I got a lot of friends up there. You were working out with them. And then for whatever reason, that doesn't happen. He goes back to Arizona and he says, I'm happy to be in Arizona. But then I think either yesterday or 2 days ago, he goes on a podcast and they ask him, hey, what quarterback would you want to play with? And he was just over the moon for, hey, I want to play with Josh Allen. I'd love to go play with a guy like Josh Allen. Have you still been talking to D-Hop? Is there any chance you think, putting your assistant GM hat on, that he's going to end up in Buffalo before the end of the season?
Josh Allen, DeAndre Hopkins is my real friend. So even though we're not talking about like contracts and coming to the Buffalo Bills, I'm still in contact with D-Hop all the time. But I did see that podcast and all the things that he was saying, and I'm sitting there watching, and all the things that he was saying, he was like, man, I want to be on a team where the front office is stable and ownership is great, and I want to play with a great quarterback.
Oh, here we go.
To me, it really felt like he was talking about the Buffalo Bills.
What?
So
Really?
It was a weird situation to be in. It's like, you got the girl that you like, and she's saying I like you, and then you saying yeah, let's get in a relationship, but at the same time, like I don't want to leave just Yeah, it's like, bro, it's a weird situation to be in. So we just gotta wait and see, man. We got, Brandon Beane is the greatest.
Yeah.
Brandon Beane is the greatest. DeAndre Hopkins is a Hall of Fame player, man, and it's just so many different things that come in between things happening or not happening. You got the financial element and all of these other different things that come into play. So I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic that it'll happen. But for right now, we just got to wait and see.
I believe we're talking to old McDermott tomorrow, Coach.
Okay.
I believe he'll be on the program, so can't wait to ask him about how the team is taking in OTAs and everything like that. And if you were to add D-Hop on the team, what would that do for a squad?
You want that?
Well, what would that do for the team? It sounds like all parties are interested, but also the Ravens were allegedly very interested, right? Because Lamar was super pumped. And then he's back in Arizona. I have no idea how that's going to pan out.
It's weird.
But he's a hell of a football player, and there's a reason all this can happen, and that's it. Tone Diggs, last question for you here, Vaughn.
Vaughn, let's say you're playing the Dolphins this year and you get around the edge and you got your eyes set on Tua. Does your mindset change at all? Anything knowing that he is now a black belt in jiu-jitsu? Okay.
Is he a black belt?
Probably. I think
no, because you hold the ball out just like this, and I'm just gonna slap it out.
Okay.
Other hand.
Watch out for the armbar. Just saying.
Yeah, because what if you go to slap it and he catches you, hip toss, down, takes the sack, but in doing so takes your fucking arm.
Yeah.
You tap out.
Bro, what if he has you full wrapped up on that thing? I didn't even think about that, Tone. Great question.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot lately.
I would be deeply embarrassed.
Hey.
I would be deeply embarrassed, because the quarterback just hip tossed me and got me in the head. Even though I got the sack and I got the forced fumble, I would be happy about that. But viral Twitter and the way things go, I would be deeply embarrassed about getting hip tossed by.
Could you imagine Tua snaps your arm after a sack? Like, Sunshine goes like, hey, let that guy through.
Let him through.
Right?
And then boom, does that thing. What if Tua's like, let Vaughn in? First play. Breaks his arm.
I'm going for the ball. He can have my arm. He can dislocate my arm and all that stuff later. As long as I get the sack, I'll be good.
Oh, that's awesome to think about. Yeah, because, Tone, I appreciate you bringing that angle because all we've thought about is him falling better.
Right.
Yeah.
And, having a better flat back and everything like that. You're thinking on the offensive side.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking defense. What about the offense that comes with being, what did you say he was, a black belt in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu,
That's insane.
We don't know if that's true.
Probably, though.
If that was true, we would have learned that a long time ago. Vaughn, have an incredible afternoon. We appreciate you taking time, pal.
Man, I appreciate you guys, man. Pat, AJ, Pac-Man, all the guys on the show, man. I love you guys, man. I appreciate y'all for having me on the show again. And until next time, I'll see you guys.